Hey everyone, welcome back. Are you all ready for this new month? It is currently Tuesday, August 4th, and today I'm taking you through how I realistically plan our zero-based monthly budget for August. If you're new here, hi, I'm FJ. I'm a wife to my high school best friend, a mama, and a 30-year-old Christian currently working toward paying off over $50,000 of debt. We started this journey from around $54,000 of debt. Our provider, Papa God, has blessed us with a double income household here in California. My husband is an automotive painter and I am a home health registered nurse. And here on her Steward Notes, we are learning to faithfully steward every blessing and wisdom God has entrusted to our family. Luke 16 verse 10 reminds us that whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And that verse is the heart behind every single dollar we budget here. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, grab your budget notebook, and let's get into it. So here I designed this budget layout myself. This first page is our monthly budget summary where we get to see the overall picture from the start to the end of August. And then on the following pages, we'll break down each individual section. I have here the variable expenses, bills, debt, long-term sinking funds, short-term sinking funds, and lastly, the buy it debt-free binder, which is my favorite binder. Okay, so on the summary page, I have already written our total household income budget for this month, and we're setting it at $8,500. That is the estimate because our income is not really fixed, at least mine is not. So now I was actually contemplating decreasing this figure a bit because lately I've had fewer patient visits, and as a home health RN, I get paid equivalent to 2 hours per patient visit. And so to have a full work schedule, I need a total of 20 patient visits a week, but right now it's sitting below that. So, well, I decided to keep our estimate at 8,500 anyway and just have faith. My income is variable and paid weekly, while my husband's income is pretty fixed and paid bi-weekly, so we will adjust as the weeks unfold. And then down here we have the total net income for the month and the year-to-date net income. These two will be filled out by the end of August, and I look forward to finding out what those numbers are. Next is the weekly net income breakdown. I just put 5 weeks here because this is supposed to be just a general monthly budget bundle, but for the month of August we only have 4 weeks, so let me just put a line there just to indicate and remind myself that we only have 4 weeks for the month of August. Next is our debt tracker. If you saw my previous video, we worked out our new debt balance together, so I'm going to go ahead and copy those figures right over here. And the total for that is $50,966. So our new debt balance is $50,966. Here I have the budget breakdown, and this is basically a summary of each section that I have in our budget, which has the variable expenses, bills, debt, short-term sinking funds, long-term sinking funds, and then the buy it debt-free binder. And then by the end of the month, we can see how much we actually spent, and then we'll have the ratio here in percentages. For the priorities, I have here number 1 is to pay off the Chase credit card. And then I guess number 2 would be to buy and set up a new binder because as of today I only have the debt binder, so I want to start getting a new one, and I might have that next binder be for, let's see, maybe the bills section. Yeah, so let's go to the next page. Actually, before I go to the next page, to tackle this debt, I want to share with you that I do follow Dave Ramsey's debt snowball method. I'm sure many of you know how it works, but if you don't, here's an easy analogy for you. Imagine rolling a tiny snowball down a hill. At first, it's small and moves slowly, right? But then as it rolls, it picks up more snow, gets bigger, and rolls faster until it becomes an unstoppable avalanche. So that's exactly how you attack your debts. You list all your debts from the smallest balance to the largest balance, and then you pay the minimum payments on every single debt except for the smallest one. So for that smallest debt, you throw every single extra dollar you have, and then you can find at it until it is completely paid off. Once it's gone, you take the money you were paying toward that first debt, its minimum payment plus all the extra cash, and you roll it directly into the minimum payment of the next smallest debt. So from the Affirm credit, you move on to the personal loan, and then the Sharp medical, and then the Chase credit card. So it's like the snowball. It starts from a really, really small one, and then you use this payment to add onto this minimum, and then once this is paid off, you use these two to help pay off the Sharp medical. And then after these are paid off, these three, use these three payments to help pay off the Chase credit card. I'm really grateful I learned this method, because if I hadn't, I probably would have taken the money freed up from a paid off debt and spent it elsewhere, thinking I just gained extra cash, which would have slowed down our progress. So rolling it over keeps our momentum going. And the next page is our variable expenses. We are going to start with tithes, and for tithes, that's 10% of our income. So we estimated the budget to be 8,500. So that's what we're gonna put here. The 10% of that is 850. For gas, let's go with 250. I think we can try that. For groceries, this is fixed. We always have a budget of $300. For childcare, I haven't been having to need childcare lately just because I'm able to work in the evenings, and like I said, I don't have that many patients right now. So I think I'll just budget $200 for this one. For laundry, we'll do 50. And then for toiletries, maybe 100. For hubby's spending, we'll give $80. And then for mine would be $40. For date night, let's budget $50 for that. And then we'll also put 50 for family fun. Fellowship, we'll give this a 20. And then for unbudgeted, we'll give this maybe a 50. So let's see what the total is. All right, so 850 plus 250 plus 300 plus 200 plus 50 plus 100 plus 80 plus 40 plus 50 plus 50 plus 20 plus 50. So 2,040. Next page, we have the bills category. Now this one, of course, is fixed. I do know that rent is the first, due on the 1st. Medical insurance is due on the 30th. YouTube is due on the 29th. And then iCloud is on the 9th. My osmosis is due, I think, October. So October 11th. The Velo, this is due on June 2027. All right, as you can see here, you'll see these boxes highlighted in very light pink, and I used this to indicate items that fall under a savings challenge or a specific tracker. So if you see any category that is in pink and it's not only in underbills, that means that I have started a tracker for that, just to make it fun for me, I guess. For the rent, we have an estimate of $2,250. For the phone, I think it's still at $90. And then the internet is $60. For gas and electric, since it's the summertime, I'm budgeting, let's see, $250 for this. For the car insurance, we're budgeting $200. For the medical insurance, I think this is $250 or $252. I think it was $251 in some sense. For the YouTube family premium, that's $35. And then for iCloud, that's $10, iCloud Plus. For the Canva Pro, this is $18 per month. And then for the car tags, which is like a sinking fund, we'll budget $50. And then for Google One, we'll budget $9. For Amazon Prime, we'll budget $12. For my osmosis, we'll budget $12 for this one, and this is every 6 months. For day one, which we haven't done the gold subscription yet, but I want to budget, let's see, $7. Yeah, $7 for that. And then for my husband's chess.com premium, we'll budget $8. And then for the Velo Premium, it's only $20 per year. But I guess we'll budget, what, $2? I mean, obviously, if there's extra money, then we can put more and then just complete that sinking fund. Let's calculate how much we have in total. 90 plus 60 plus 250 plus 200 plus 252 plus 35 plus 10 plus 18 plus 50 plus 9 plus 12 plus 12 plus 7 plus 8 plus 2 equals 3,265. All right, and then we'll move on to the debt section. So like aforementioned, Affirm Credit, personal loan, and Sharp Medical, these are already paid off, and I'm really happy about that. But I'm keeping the minimum payments here because we're doing the snowball method. So for the Affirm Credit, the minimum is $60. Personal loan, the minimum is $110. And then for Sharp Medical, the minimum was $50. So the total for those minimums is 60 plus 110 plus 50, 220. So I need to save up $220 to roll over to the Chase credit card. Now here, I'm not going to write down the balance that we just wrote on the first page because that's without interest, and we all know that credit cards will add on interest towards the next payment. So I will start writing these down after the interest is added to the balance. So for now, we'll keep these blank. Right now, I just want to write down the minimum, and let me get my weekly page again. For the Chase credit card, the minimum is still at 70. Next is Kaiser medical debt. It's also at 70. For your Mission Fed credit card, it's at 75. For My Capital One, it's at 140. For hubby's Capital One, it's at 175. Next is Best Buy. It's at 203, not 5. For CarMax loan, it's still at 320. And then for Discover, it's now at 315. For these minimums, so like I said, I still have the minimum indicated here, but I'm obviously going to try to pay this off with all the extra money that we have, plus the snowball of $220. When I total it up, I'm including the snowball because I am making that a requirement. 220 plus 70 plus 70 plus 75 plus 140 plus 175 plus 203 plus 320 plus 315. So for debt, we have to pay $1,588. All right. Next is the long-term sinking funds. This is pretty long indeed. Okay, so let's start with emergency. Now you'll see in this page, because it's a sinking fund section, I have here the goals column. I figured out our goal amounts off camera, but these are the general targets for each category rather than high priority. So as I mentioned, our absolute top focus right now is aggressively paying off our Chase credit card. And this is just for me to see how much we want to have in each envelope by the end of the day once these are all filled. Okay, so for this section, I'm actually not going to input any specific budget because, like I said, these to me, they're not really that much of a priority this month. So I'll just put up here that we should save up for, let's try $400. Okay, this is just to let myself know that I would at least want to have $400 allocated to the long-term sinking funds, and I'll decide then where I would want them in. But for now, we'll keep the budget column blank and just indicate that we have 400. And then we have next the short-term sinking funds. But you know what I should have been doing? I should have been subtracting from the monthly budget. So hold on a minute. All right. Okay, so 8,000, right? 8,500 subtract the variable expenses, 2,040. So that's 6,460. Next page would be the bill section. So subtract 3,265. Okay, so 3,195. And then behind this is the debt section, and we are going to subtract 1,588. So now we have 1,607. So I did not expect to have that much, but okay, I'm gonna go back. Do you think I did not put enough for the long-term sinking funds? Because that's only 400. I'm looking at my variable right now. I mean, these all make sense to me. So maybe for the long term, since I have this much, I think, let's see, let's subtract. Let's say this should be 600. Yeah, let's do that. All right, there you go, the first whiteout. All right, so let's say this should be 600 instead of 400. So we just have to subtract 200. Now we have 1407, which I really feel like it's still a lot. Yes, baby. Yeah. Hi. Hi. Yeah. Happy baby. Okay, so for short-term sinking funds, I really think this is a lot. Maybe 8,500 is too much for us. But anyway, if we have extra, it goes to the chase. So that's a good thing, right? What if we give an extra, instead of saying minimum, let's subtract. Let's give this another 500. So instead of $70, let's do 570. How about that? So minus 500. Okay, so now this would be 570. Hopefully, if we have the budget, but yes, we are prioritizing that anyway, so that's good. Yeah, so chase credit balance, new balance is 570, so that means I actually have to change this total amount to, yes, baby. Yeah, mommy did a boo-boo. So let's add 220 plus 570 plus 70 plus 75 plus 140 plus 175 plus 203 plus 320 plus 315. So now this has a total of what is it? 2,088. 2,088. Okay, so now I have to redo my budget calculation. 8,500, right? Subtract the variable expense total, which is 2,040, and then subtract the bills, which is 3,265, and then subtract minus 2,088. So we have that much left. And then the long term, we said 600. So now we only have 507 left. I hope that's, now I'm thinking if that's even enough. Oh my gosh. What am I doing? These are also highlighted in very, very, very light pink. So I apologize if you guys don't see that, but it just basically means that each category is under a tracker. We have 507 left. So for this one, I do have a few categories that I want to make sure that we fund. And that is Prince here. We need to make sure that we budget 100 for him. For pet care, we need to make sure that we have 150. Or no, 120, sorry. I forgot that I changed that. For the formula, where is it? Okay, for formula, we need to make sure that we have 150 for that as well. Okay, so let's subtract those. So minus 100 minus 150 minus 120. Okay, so we have $137 left. Let's add 100. Yeah, let's do that. Let's add 100 here. This is the Buy It Debt-Free binder. For those of you that don't know, I have a small binder, a mini binder, which has a list of all the things that I want to buy, not just for myself, but for my family, for my son, for my husband, for Gideon, our dog. And it's just basically things, specific things that I want to save up for. For that I'm going to budget 100 for this. We have $37 left. I'm going to add that to the short-term sinking funds, but I'm gonna add 100 plus 150 plus 120 to say that we have $407 to budget for short-term sinking funds. Now, this should all total up to 8,500. So I know I've done it multiple times already, so I'll do it this way. 100 from the buy it debt free plus 407 plus 600 plus 2,088 plus 3,265 plus 2,040 plus, oh, actually that's it. So, oh, there you go. So it all amounts to the total budget of $8,500. That means we did it right, that we budgeted for every single dollar, and that is basically what the zero-based budget is. That's everything. Now I can write them out here. All right, so there you go. For variable expenses, the plan is 2,040, bills is 3,265, and debt is 2,088, short-term sinking funds 407, long-term sinking funds 600, and then for the buy it debt free binder 100, and that all equals to the total budget. If I want to figure out the ratio of the plan right now, I can go ahead and figure that out. So for the variable expenses, the ratio would be 24%. And this is based off of the total budget, of course. Bills is rounded up to 30, no, it would be 38% still. Debt is rounded up to 25%. Short term is 5%. Long term is 7%. And then for the buy it debt free this is 2%. These are the ratios. That's actually interesting. So my biggest one is the bills at 38%. And then the next highest one is the debt, which is actually a good thing because that means we're prioritizing that at 25%. But after that is the variable expenses, which is our day-to-day living expenses. So I guess that makes sense, 24%. And then these are rightfully so only 5, 7, and 2%. So I like it. I like the ratios that we have right now. So at the end of the month, I will show you this budget summary again, and we'll write down all the actual numbers of what we spent on. All right, so that is all. Thank you so much for joining me today. If this video encouraged you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to join our family here at her Steward Notes. I do want to ask, what is your main financial goal for August? Let me know down in the comments so we can encourage each other. And remember, keep stewarding faithfully, and I'll see you in the next chapter of our journey. God bless.